I'm going to try to get this in one take. Remember when I said bad things come in threes? Where do I begin? This is not going to be a long video because I can't have for it to be long. I can't talk about it too much, or I'll end up crying on YouTube like I did with my fertility video. My best friend died. It's hard for me to say that. It's hard for me to wrap my head around that. My best friend died. My best friend is dead. His name is Scott, and he had been battling colorectal cancer for 5 years. He beat it once, and then it came back, and the age-old saying of the "you never beat it, you don't beat it." I know one day I'll die of cancer. I know that, unless God has other plans for me. But he was 44 years old, and he has 4 children, ranging from the ages of 23 to 4. We grew up together. He came to my house every day. He rode his bicycle to my house before he had a truck, and then when we were old enough to drive, he drove his truck to my house every day. We did school together, high school. Then in college, we went to the same community college and did lunch together every day, had classes together. We just loved each other. He was my other brother, and he called me his other sis. And I loved every single thing about him. September 11th, he called me, or he texted me while I was at church and said, "It looks like that my time has come to an end, old friend." He was a definite bullcrapper, so he was like, "No BS, I'm serious." So I left church and called him, and I just sat and cried my eyes out, and he said, "I have 3 favors of you." He's not asked me for one thing all these years of him battling. I mean, I've done stuff for him because I forced myself I forced him to let me do things for him. And him asking me for 3 favors let me know that this was serious. He said, 1, I need some phone numbers. He couldn't find one of his other best friend's phone number, which had been in his phone forever, and it was in his phone again. I can't see. He just can't fake, his mind was not the way it used to be. So I helped him find that number, and then I said, "What's the next favor?" He said, "I want you to go to a benefit that this same best friend was giving for him. He and his wife are giving for Scott at their church for 2 weekends from then." And then I said, "I'm done." If he'd have told me to climb on top of a pole and dance, I would have done it. He said, "The last one is, will you just stay up late and talk to me?" His wife had gone home to be with their 4-year-old. So I said, "Of course I will." And we talked for about an hour. Really, he talked and I just listened. I just wanted to hear the sound of his voice. And what's so ironic is he said, "I have one more favor. I want you to talk back to me." I said, I want to listen to you. I want to give you a chance to say all you need to say. And he said, "But I want to hear the sound of your voice." So we talked about life and kids and memories, and I told him he was my best friend in the whole wide world. And he told me I was his. And I said, "I love you with all my heart." And the doctors that day had given him a few weeks to a month, but he said, I said, "What do you think about it?" He said, "I don't know what I think, Shawna. I don't know what I think." So that was September 11th. His birthday, where he turned 44, was September 18th, and he died 2 days later, September 20th. My other BFF, Susan, and I drove to Nashville because he was at Vanderbilt Hospital in hospice. We drove that very next Sunday to see him. And he said one thing. He talked to the nurse a little bit. But like the very next day after he and I talked on the phone for an hour, he became unresponsive. So when we went to see him that Sunday, he just laid there and hurt. And the only time he opened his mouth was to answer the nurse's questions. When we went to leave, you know, I was holding his hand and I told him I loved him. He said, "I love you" right back. And then he said, "I'm sorry." He had told me not to cry too much, but I just couldn't. I mean, it was the most terrible thing. I have experienced a very close loved one die. My mother-in-law, per se, she called me her daughter-in-law. She died March the 3rd, 2016, and I watched her take her last breath. We stayed with her day and night for weeks. And we left Scott on Sunday, and he died that Friday. Took a while to get the arrangements done because he was a vet. He was full-time National Guard. He was a supply sergeant, master sergeant for the National Guard, and he had been to Afghanistan. I believe it was 4 times. Yeah. 3 for sure. So the military handled his funeral. I'll include a clip. At the end, I'll include clips, and I'll also include pictures, because I know y'all don't care about, you didn't know him, but I love him, and he is important to me. And it is one of the reasons why and again, I have been literally putting one foot in front of the other these days, barely. If it hadn't been for the wonderful support system I have, I don't know how I would have handled it. The visitation, I don't remember most of it. I was a zombie, my son says, and I never stopped crying. The funeral was the same. And then we drove about an hour to this veteran cemetery where he was buried. I'm close with his children. Well, his oldest 3. His youngest is just, like I said, he'll be 5 in December, and they live in Middle Tennessee. They will probably move because her family is in Florida. This whole few weeks has been absolutely surreal for me. I was going through pictures in my mama's attic of like our entire childhood to just gather some to show people and for me to look at and reminisce. And I promised you, the first picture I picked up, I said, Scott is gonna die when he sees this picture. And I picked up my phone to text him. So that's the major update in my life. Otherwise, I got Black Betty fixed from where the little boy and I collided. She looks beautiful and perfect. Someone had keyed my car a while back, and we got that fixed in the process. My mother's surgery is in 1 week. So besides that, that's all. I've been teaching and putting one foot in front of the other, like I said. Anyway, my son's here to get me for supper. I love you guys, and I just want to give you an update. Bye.
Freeze, Red.